Okay, so let's dive right into this. You sent over a fascinating article about DeepSeek, this Chinese AI lab. They're really shaking things up in the tech world.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable what they've been able to pull off, going toe-to-toe with the biggest names in AI, Google, OpenAI, and they're doing it on what seems like a shoestring budget.
That's what really caught my eye. What's the secret? How are they able to compete with these giants when they don't have the same resources?
Well, it's a few things, really, but one of the keys is their approach to the hardware. They have had to get creative because of the U.S. export controls on the latest NVIDIA chips.
Ah, right.
So instead of relying on the most powerful GPUs, the cutting-edge stuff, they're using older, less powerful ones. But here's the kicker. They're getting incredible efficiency through some really clever engineering.
So turning lemons into lemonade.
Exactly. And it seems to be working. Their DeepSeek V3 model is right up there with GPT-4 in terms of performance, but they developed it for a fraction of the cost.
That's impressive. And then there's the open source thing. They're making their models freely available, which is a huge departure from what we see with a lot of U.S. companies.
It's a big deal, especially for the business world. Think about it. Smaller companies suddenly have access to these powerful AI tools. It could be a game changer, especially in finance.
Right. You could use these models to analyze market trends, manage portfolios, even provide personalized financial advice, things that used to only be accessible to the big institutions.
Precisely. This kind of tech could disrupt the entire financial industry as we know it.
So let's get specific. What are the implications for businesses, particularly in finance?
Well, first off, you could automate a lot of the tasks that human analysts do now. Risk assessment, fraud detection, algorithmic trading. This could save institutions a ton of money.
And probably make them more efficient, too.
Exactly. But, and this is a big but, it does raise questions about jobs. What happens to all those analysts when an AI can do their work faster and better?
That's a valid point. So businesses need to adapt, but also individuals need to prepare for these changes.
Precisely. The rise of AI demands a new way of thinking. We need to embrace lifelong learning.
So it's not just about adopting the technology, it's about evolving alongside it.
You got it. Now, let's look at the potential upside. How could these models actually improve financial decision-making?
Okay, yeah, let's dive into that.
Well, one of AI's strengths is its ability to process huge amounts of data and spot patterns that humans miss. That's gold for things like investment analysis, risk management, and fraud detection.
So AI helps us make smarter, more informed decisions.
Exactly. And that could lead to more efficient markets, lower costs, even higher returns for investors. It's a ripple effect throughout the entire system.
It sounds like democratizing access to sophisticated financial tools.
You hit the nail on the head. And that's the beauty of DeepSeek's open source approach. It levels the playing field. Smaller companies, even individuals, can compete with the big players.
So it's not just about institutions. It's about empowering people to take control of their own finances.
Absolutely. It's about making smarter decisions for yourself, for your future. But of course, there are risks.
Of course. Like, how do we make sure AI is used responsibly in finance?
That's the million-dollar question. Regulators and policymakers are grappling with that right now. One of the big concerns is bias in these systems.
Can you unpack that a little?
Sure. So AI models are trained on data, right? If that data is biased, the model will be biased too. And this can lead to unfair outcomes, especially in areas like lending. AI is already being used to determine who gets a loan and who doesn't.
So we need to make sure that training data is fair and representative of everyone.
Absolutely. And we need ways to detect and fix bias in the AI systems themselves.
That sounds incredibly complex.
It is. But it's a challenge we have to solve if we want AI to be ethical and responsible, especially in a field like finance.
It's a delicate balance, for sure. Harnessing the power of AI, but also protecting people from potential harm.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's a conversation that needs to involve everyone. Tech companies, financial institutions, regulators, and the people who are ultimately affected by these technologies.
This is about collective responsibility, making sure AI is used for good in the financial world.
Exactly. Now let's shift gears a little and talk more about DeepSeek-R1. This model is all about reasoning, which is essential in finance.
What makes it so good at reasoning?
They're using a technique called reinforcement learning. Think of it as teaching the model through trial and error. The model tries to solve a problem, gets feedback, and learns from its mistakes.
Like training a dog, but with data and algorithms.
Pretty much. And what's wild is that they're doing this without any initial fine-tuning. The model is learning from scratch.
And they call this approach DeepSeek-R1 0, right?
Yep. And the results are fascinating. The model's developing sophisticated reasoning skills, like self-verification. It's almost like it's developing a kind of metacognition.
So it's thinking about its own thinking.
Yeah, and that's what allows it to tackle these complex problems in a more human-like way.
And that has massive implications for businesses, right? Especially in finance, where accuracy and insight are everything.
Absolutely. Imagine an AI that can analyze market trends, but also understand the underlying forces at play. That could be a game changer for investors.
It sounds like DeepSeek-R1 could give businesses a real edge.
It definitely could. And because it's open source, even smaller firms can potentially integrate this technology. It's not just for the big players anymore.
Again, it's that democratizing effect.
Exactly. And that's what makes DeepSeek's story so compelling. They're shaking up the industry, not just with their tech, but with their whole philosophy.
It's a fascinating case study, showing that disruption can come from anywhere.
Absolutely. And it's a reminder that we need to keep our eyes open. The AI landscape is shifting rapidly, and the next big breakthrough could come from the most unexpected places.
So DeepSeek is more than just a tech innovator. They're a disruptor in the business world.
You got it. They're forcing everyone to rethink the rules of the game.
It's an exciting story to follow. And I'm really curious to see how their innovations will shape the financial landscape in the years to come.
Me too. Now, let's take a closer look at some specific applications of DeepSeek's AI in finance. Algorithmic trading, for example. How are these models actually making investment decisions?
Okay, yeah. Let's break that down.
At its core, algorithmic trading is about using computer programs to execute trades automatically, based on preset rules and market conditions.
Right, so where does AI come in?
Traditional systems rely on pretty basic rules and models, but AI can create much more sophisticated algorithms. They can analyze mountains of data, spot complex patterns, and actually predict future market movements.
It's like taking algorithmic trading to a whole new level.
Exactly. And DeepSeek's models are perfect for this because they can learn and adapt. They can analyze data in real time, identify trends, and adjust their strategies on the fly.
So it's not just about following pre-programmed rules, it's about having an AI that can actually think for itself.
Precisely. And that's what gives AI-powered trading a huge advantage over traditional systems. But of course, there are concerns.
Right. What about the risk of mistakes or even manipulating the market?
Those are valid concerns. And regulators and industry experts are working on them. One way to mitigate the risk is rigorous testing and validation before these systems go live.
So it's all about making sure they're reliable and predictable.
Exactly. And having safeguards to prevent rogue trades or market manipulation.
Sounds like a tough challenge.
It is. But one we need to tackle if we want to unlock AI's full potential in finance.
Okay, so we've talked about trading, but another area where DeepSeek's AI could have a big impact is risk management.
Absolutely. Risk management is all about identifying and mitigating threats to a business or an investment. And AI can be a game changer in this process.
How so?
Well, AI can analyze huge amounts of data from all sorts of sources. Financial statements, market trends, news events. It can spot potential risks that humans might miss completely.
So it's like having an extra set of eyes, but these eyes can see things we can't.
Exactly. And once it's identified a risk, AI can help us assess its severity and recommend mitigation strategies.
So it's not just about identifying risks, it's about giving businesses the tools to actually deal with them.
Exactly. That's what makes AI so powerful for risk management.
It sounds like a revolution in the way businesses approach risk.
It definitely has the potential to be. And it's already happening. More and more financial institutions are adopting AI-powered risk management systems.
And I imagine this trend will only accelerate in the years to come.
Absolutely. As AI gets more sophisticated and affordable, it'll become an essential tool for any business that wants to stay ahead.
It really is a fascinating time to be watching this all unfold.
I agree. Now, let's switch gears again and talk about the potential impact on personal finance. How could DeepSeek's models help individuals manage their money?
That's something a lot of people can relate to.
Imagine having an AI-powered financial advisor. It analyzes your income, your spending, your goals, and gives you personalized advice.
That sounds like a dream for a lot of people.
It could be a reality. And it's not as far-fetched as it might sound. DeepSeek's models could be used to create sophisticated financial tools accessible to anyone with a smartphone.
So democratizing access to financial advice.
Exactly. Financial advisors are usually only for the wealthy. But AI could make personalized advice available to everyone, regardless of income.
That's a powerful idea. It could really help people who've been traditionally excluded from the financial system.
Absolutely. It's one of the most exciting applications of AI in finance, truly empowering people.
So how could AI actually improve personal finance?
Well, think about budgeting. AI could analyze your spending and find areas where you could save. It could help you create a realistic budget that works for you.
Like a personal finance coach in your pocket.
Exactly. And it could help with investing, too. It could analyze your risk tolerance, your goals, and recommend a portfolio that's right for you.
So no more guessing games with investments. AI makes it accessible for everyday people.
Exactly. It could even help manage debt, analyzing interest rates and repayment options to find the best strategy.
It sounds like AI could revolutionize personal finance.
It really does have that potential, and it's an area I'm particularly excited to see develop in the coming years.
Me too. It's a chance to use technology to empower people, to improve their financial well-being.
Absolutely. Now, let's not forget that DeepSeek isn't playing in a vacuum. There's a whole competitive landscape out there. Other company and research groups are also pushing the boundaries of AI.
And the competition is fierce.
Definitely. DeepSeek's success has put them on the map, but they need to keep innovating to stay ahead.
So who are their main rivals?
Well, one of the biggest is OpenAI, the folks behind GPT-4, one of the most advanced language models out there.
And they're well-funded, with a strong track record.
Plus, they've got big names like Microsoft backing them. Then there's Google, who's been investing heavily in AI for years.
They have a ton of data and computing power.
Google's AI research is top-notch. They've made some major contributions to the field.
And then you've got other big players like Meta, Amazon, and IBM.
All investing heavily in AI, all vying for a leadership position.
So it's a tight race.
It is, but it's also driving innovation. Everyone's pushing the limits, which ultimately benefits everyone.
It's a race to the top. And the winner is whoever can create the most powerful, versatile, and beneficial AI technologies.
And DeepSeek is definitely a contender in this race, but they need to stay focused and agile to come out on top.
Okay, so let's wrap up this part of our deep dive with some thoughts on DeepSeek's future and the implications of their success.
Their arrival has been a major shakeup for the AI world.
They've challenged the status quo, proving you can achieve incredible results with limited resources and an open-source approach.
Their focus on reasoning capabilities is particularly interesting.
It suggests we might be entering a new era of AI where machines can actually think and reason like humans.
And the implications of that are massive, potentially transformative.
DeepSeek's story has also highlighted the ethical considerations.
Absolutely. We need to be aware of the risks: bias, misuse, job displacement. We have to make sure AI is used for good and that its benefits are shared widely.
It's a responsibility we all share.
DeepSeek's journey is far from over. They're a young company with a bold vision, and they're operating in a field that's constantly evolving.
It'll be fascinating to see how they handle the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
And how their success will shape the future of AI.
Can't wait to see what the next chapter holds.
Me neither. Stay tuned, because this AI revolution is just getting started. You know, one thing that really stands out to me about DeepSeek is the whole David versus Goliath thing. You've got this small lab in China taking on the giants, and they're holding their own.
It really is a classic underdog story. You wouldn't expect a company most people have never heard of to be outperforming giants like Google and OpenAI. Especially not with limited resources. It's like they've discovered some kind of secret weapon.
Their secret weapon seems to be a combination of ingenuity, efficiency, and that commitment to open source. They're not just throwing money at the problem, they're finding creative solutions.
Yeah, like using those older GPUs. They've taken a limitation and turned it into an advantage.
Right. They're achieving performance comparable to models trained on the most expensive hardware. That's huge for the future of AI development.
It's like they're proving that you don't need to be a massive corporation with billions of dollars to make an impact in AI.
Exactly. And the open source approach just amplifies that. Imagine if all the best AI models were freely available. That could really accelerate progress, especially in a field like finance.
Speaking of finance, you've talked about how DeepSeek could disrupt the industry. Algorithmic trading, risk management, personal finance. But what about the broader implications for the global financial system?
Honestly, I think we're just scratching the surface here. This technology has the potential to completely reshape the financial landscape. More efficiency, lower costs, improved access to financial services for everyone. We're talking about some really significant shifts.
So, like you said before, AI could democratize finance in a way we've never seen.
That's the idea. It levels the playing field and empowers individuals to take control of their financial lives. But of course, we can't ignore the challenges.
What kind of challenges?
Well, first and foremost, we need to ensure that these AI systems are used responsibly and ethically. There's the potential for bias, for market manipulation, and we need transparency and accountability. These are issues that regulators and policymakers need to address, especially as this technology becomes more widespread.
It's not just about the tech itself, it's about the social and ethical considerations as well.
Exactly. We need to be very thoughtful about how we want AI to shape the future of finance. It's a powerful tool, and we need to make sure it's used for good.
DeepSeek's open source approach also raises some interesting questions about the future of competition in the AI industry.
It's definitely shaking things up. Traditionally, AI has been dominated by a handful of big tech companies that keep their algorithms and data closely guarded. But DeepSeek is doing things differently. It's a bold move, and it could have a ripple effect throughout the industry.
Could this lead to a more collaborative approach to AI development? Companies and researchers sharing their knowledge more openly.
I think it's a real possibility, and honestly, it's exciting to think about. More collaboration could lead to faster progress, more innovation, and a wider range of AI solutions. It could also make AI more accessible to smaller companies and organizations.
So DeepSeek is disrupting finance, but they're also potentially changing the way AI is developed and shared. It's amazing.
Absolutely. They're a company to watch, that's for sure. Their story is far from over. We're still in the early stages of the AI revolution, and it's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
Let's talk about DeepSeek V3 for a minute. We've been focused on DeepSeek-R1 and its reasoning capabilities, but DeepSeek V3 seems pretty impressive too, especially with its ability to generate human-quality text.
It does tend to get overshadowed, doesn't it? But yeah, the tech behind DeepSeek V3 is pretty groundbreaking. Think of the possibilities for businesses. Personalized marketing content, automated customer service, reports, summaries, even drafting legal documents, all with minimal human input.
You mentioned earlier that DeepSeek V3 achieves performance comparable to the leading models, but at a fraction of the cost. How do they do that?
Well, it all comes down to their approach to training the model. It's not just about more data or more computing power. They've come up with some clever techniques like multi-head latent attention. It allows the model to process information much more efficiently.
So it's not just about being bigger, it's about being smarter.
Exactly. They're finding elegant solutions to maximize performance. That's what sets them apart.
I can see this impacting the way we work too. Businesses could automate so many tasks, freeing up employees for more creative, strategic work.
That's the idea. It's not about replacing humans, it's about augmenting our abilities. AI handles the repetitive tasks, and we can focus on what we're good at: critical thinking, problem solving, innovation.
AI could boost productivity and drive economic growth.
It has that potential for sure, but like we've talked about, there are potential downsides. Job displacement, adapting to a changing work environment. We need to be proactive in addressing those challenges. We need to make sure that everyone benefits from the AI revolution.
That's an important point. We can't just focus on the tech. We have to think about the impact on people, on society.
Absolutely. We need to use AI for good to create a better, more equitable world.
We've talked about the positive side of DeepSeek's AI, but we need to acknowledge the risks too.
Oh, absolutely. Any powerful technology can be misused. One thing that worries people is the possibility of creating deepfakes, convincing fake videos that could be used to spread misinformation or even damage reputations.
That's a scary thought. What can we do about that?
Well, we need better ways to detect deepfakes. There's a lot of research going on right now looking for ways to identify the telltale signs of a fake, and we need to educate people about the potential for deception, help them become more critical of what they see online.
So raising awareness and promoting media literacy are key.
Absolutely. And we need legal and ethical frameworks to discourage the malicious use of deepfakes. It's a complex issue, but one we can't ignore.
Another concern is that AI could be used to automate discriminatory practices, especially in areas like lending, hiring, even criminal justice.
That's a valid concern, and it goes back to the issue of bias in the data. If the data used to train an AI model reflects existing societal biases, the model will perpetuate them, and that could have serious consequences.
So how do we make sure these systems are fair?
We need to be incredibly careful about the data, make sure it's diverse, representative, and free from bias. And we need techniques to detect and correct bias within the algorithms themselves. It's an active area of research, and there are some promising approaches being developed.
So it's about being proactive, about addressing bias every step of the process.
Exactly. And we can't forget about human oversight. We can't just trust machines to make fair decisions. We need humans involved to ensure that AI is being used responsibly.
It sounds like there's a lot of work to be done to make sure AI is ethical and responsible.
There is. But I'm optimistic. I believe we can create a future where AI is a force for good. A future where AI helps us solve the world's biggest challenges and creates a more just and equitable society.
It's certainly an exciting time, but it's also a time for careful consideration. We need to steer this technology in the right direction for the benefit of all humanity.
I couldn't agree more. The choices we make today will determine the future of AI. Let's make sure we choose wisely.
Now let's talk about the financial implications of DeepSeek's success. Investors around the world are taking notice and want to be a part of this AI boom.
Oh, yeah. DeepSeek's rise has definitely caught the eye of the investment community. Venture capitalists are eager to pour money into what they see as the next big thing.
And it's not hard to see why. The potential of AI in finance is enormous, and DeepSeek is leading the charge. What does this influx of investment mean for the company?
Well, it gives them the resources to really push their research and development. They can hire more talent, expand their operations, maybe even acquire other companies to gain more expertise. It puts them in a great position to continue innovating.
So it's good news for them.
On the one hand, yes, but more money also brings pressure. They need to deliver results for their investors, and they need to find a balance between their commitment to open source and the demands of the market. It'll be interesting to see how they navigate this new phase of growth.
Do you think their open source approach could change as they grow and become more commercially focused?
It's a legitimate concern. Will they stay committed to openness as they get bigger, or will they become more protective of their intellectual property? We'll have to wait and see.
What about the impact on the global economy? AI is already transforming industries, changing the job market. Could DeepSeek's innovations accelerate those trends?
Without a doubt. As their AI models become more widely used, we'll likely see even more automation, especially in finance, where many tasks are already being done by machines.
That means increased efficiency and productivity. But what about the potential for job losses? Are machines going to replace human workers entirely?
It's the question everyone's asking, and there's no easy answer. AI will definitely change how we work. Some jobs will be automated, but new jobs will also emerge, requiring new skills.
So it's not about humans versus machines, it's about humans and machines working together.
Exactly. The key is adaptation. We need to keep learning, developing the skills that will be in demand: critical thinking, creativity, the ability to work alongside AI.
That puts a lot of emphasis on education and training.
It does. We need to adapt our education systems, make sure they're preparing students for an AI-driven world. We also need to provide opportunities for people to retrain and learn new skills.
It's a challenge for society as a whole.
Absolutely. Governments, businesses, educational institutions, we all need to work together to make the transition to an AI-driven economy as smooth and as fair as possible. The goal is to make sure that everyone benefits.
Let's talk about the geopolitical implications of DeepSeek's rise. The fact that they are a Chinese company operating in such a strategically important field has definitely gotten the attention of governments worldwide.
You're right. The U.S. in particular has been rattled by DeepSeek's success. They've always seen themselves as the leader in AI, and now that position is being challenged. It's reignited the competition, with the U.S. government pouring money into AI research.
You're talking about the Stargate project, right?
Exactly. They're investing billions to try and reclaim the lead in AI to maintain their technological edge and global influence. It's a clear sign that they see DeepSeek as a serious threat.
So we're entering a new era of technological competition, with AI at the center.
I think that's a fair assessment. The stakes are incredibly high. Control of AI means economic power, military superiority, even the ability to shape global values. The competition between the U.S. and China, especially, is only going to intensify in the coming years.
Could this lead to a kind of AI arms race? Countries constantly trying to one-up each other with more and more powerful AI.
It's a real possibility, and a worrying one. An AI arms race could lead to instability, mistrust, even conflict. We need to find ways to cooperate, to collaborate on AI development. We can't let it become another source of division and rivalry.
But how do we encourage international cooperation in a field that's so competitive and strategically important?
It's tough, for sure, but I think it starts with dialogue. We need to establish guidelines and norms for responsible AI development, and we need mechanisms for sharing knowledge across borders.
So it's about finding ways to use AI for the good of all humanity.
It's interesting, isn't it, how DeepSeek's story kind of reflects these bigger trends we're seeing in the global economy, this shift in power, New players like China emerging as these powerhouses in tech and innovation.
Yeah, it definitely challenges those old assumptions about, well, who's going to control the future?
Exactly. DeepSeek is a perfect example. They're showing that innovation can come from anywhere, and those traditional centers of power, well, they're not calling all the shots anymore.
And their open source approach, that seems to be part of a bigger trend too, right? Towards more collaboration and sharing in the tech world.
Absolutely. That old model, the closed proprietary systems, it's fading. We're moving towards something more open, more interconnected, and DeepSeek is right at the forefront.
It really makes you think, what if this shift leads to a more level playing field in tech? More equitable, more decentralized.
It's definitely possible. If knowledge and resources are spread out more evenly, it could empower individuals, smaller organizations. They could innovate, compete on a much fairer playing field.
That would be huge for developing countries, communities that have been left out of the tech boom.
Exactly. It could democratize access to technology, create opportunities that wouldn't have existed otherwise.
So DeepSeek's story is bigger than just AI. It's about a whole new way of thinking about innovation and progress.
That's it. Moving away from scarcity and competition towards abundance and collaboration.
It's a powerful idea, and I think it resonates with a lot of people, especially those who feel like the traditional tech industry has left them behind.
You're right. DeepSeek's success is a beacon of hope for a more equitable and accessible tech future.
Okay, so let's bring it all back to our listeners. What are the key takeaways from our deep dive into DeepSeek?
Well, first and foremost, the world of AI is changing fast. And those changes will affect all of us, especially in business and finance.
AI is not just a futuristic concept anymore. It's transforming industries, creating opportunities, and presenting challenges we need to be ready for.
The second takeaway, DeepSeek's success is a sign of what's to come. This new era of AI, it's all about efficiency, accessibility, and democratization.
The old gatekeepers are losing their grip. New players are emerging, challenging the status quo. The barriers are coming down.
And the third takeaway, maybe the most important one, is that AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
It's our responsibility to make sure AI is used ethically, responsibly, that it benefits everyone, not just a select few.
We can't be naive about the risks. Bias, job displacement, the potential for misuse. We need to be aware of those and address them head on.
But we can't let fear paralyze us. AI has the potential to solve some of humanity's biggest problems.
Yeah.
Climate change, poverty, disease.
It's a chance to make a real difference, an opportunity we can't afford to waste.
So what does this all mean for our listeners?
It means we need to be paying attention. AI is evolving rapidly, and it will impact all aspects of our lives.
We need to learn about AI, understand its potential, its limitations. We need to be part of the conversation, share our thoughts, our concerns.
The future of AI isn't set in stone. We have a say in how it unfolds.
That's what makes this such an exciting time to be alive. We're at a crossroads, and the choices we make now will have a ripple effect for generations to come.
It's up to all of us to make sure AI is a force for good in the world.
Well said. That's a perfect note to end on. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into DeepSeek and the future of AI.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, until next time, keep your minds open and your curiosity burning bright.